Hey friends, I'm here at Coughlin Castle near St. John, North Dakota, and about ready to do a quick walk around on my 2022 Harley Davidson Tri-Glide Ultra. And today I'll be sharing my 5 top reasons to own a Harley Davidson Trike or Harley Davidson Tri-Glide Ultra. So here once again, 2022 Harley Davidson Tri-Glide Ultra, Flut Cut G I call it. And as you can see, I do have some upgrades. A lot of the upgrades are more for the comfort and also safety. I have the Kahuna hand grips here. I also installed a cell phone holder that charges. It's plugged into the battery under the seat, and then a cup holder here for my water bottles when we're on longer rides. I also added a backrest. The backrest really is a lifesaver on those long rides. It really helps out with that fatigue, or to reduce that riding fatigue. And then as you can see, I have the Arlen Ness Methods filter or air breather, and then I also have the Tri-Glider, Cobra Tri-Glider slip-on pipes and the LED tail lights here. If we go to the front of the bike or the trike, as you can see, just for looks, I added the chrome piece there. I have the Harley Davidson LED auxiliary lights. Those help out a lot. And then the gremlin bell. You have to have the gremlin bell. Every rider should have one. So we're gonna get rolling here. We'll wait for him to get rolling, and then we can get moving as well. And right now I'm wearing Harley Davidson mesh vest. It's really good for summer. And then I'm also wearing media gloves, Harley Davidson media gloves, and they are also kind of a mesh material. Really good for airflow. Check my mirrors here, turn around, make sure nobody's behind me, and then we can get rolling. We're heading towards Highway 43 in north central North Dakota, and it's also known as the Scenic Byway, so it's kind of a cool road that we like to ride. And I have a little bit of a surprise for you at the end of the video here as well. And as I mentioned right before we got rolling here during the walkthrough, I'll be sharing my 5 reasons to buy a Harley Davidson Trike or Harley Davidson Tri-Glide Ultra. Reason number 1 to own a Tri-Glide Ultra, or Harley Davidson Trike, as some people call it, is the most obvious reason: the comfort. You know, as you were seeing during the walkthrough, I do have, you know, the backrest, and then if I had a rider, my rider would also enjoy a nice, comfy backrest. You know, she wouldn't have to worry about, you know, back discomfort really, especially early on. Now, as the ride goes on, if you're riding 200-300 miles in a day, you know, that might get a little bit, that's a different story. But especially with, you know, anything from, you know, 20 miles on up, or even short rides, really, the comfort of these Tri-Glides are just unmatched. So right now we are actually heading west. Once again, northern part of North Dakota here, and as you can see, the views are just spectacular. If you haven't been to North Dakota, you know, we have a lot of farmland around here, so we're riding up in one of the only, I guess, truly forested areas in the state. So I'm pretty fortunate to be able to call this place my home. So my brother and I are a few miles further into our trip, and that actually leads us to reason number 2 to buy or own a Harley Davidson Trike. Generally speaking, a lot of people believe that motorcycles and trikes and other I would say recreational vehicles, especially for road use, are somewhat dangerous. Now, that is true. Of course, you don't have the safety that you would have in a vehicle like a car or SUV, a truck, or you know, another type of vehicle. But at the same time, you know, you also have to rely on all of your senses as a rider, and also your experience. You kind of have to rely on that as well. And for the most part, in most states, you do have to have riding experience before you get your license. Moving forward here with the safety discussion, when you are on a tri-glide or a trike, whether it's Harley Davidson or any other, you have that width and size to help you be seen. And that's what I'm talking about, in terms of safety, with not only your being easier to see, but also just your presence on the road. You hear about people pulling out in front of motorcycles because they see through motorists. So that doesn't happen as often with trikes, just because of the width. These trikes are built like tanks, but they're also the size of one too. I would say that overall, the overall size, you could probably compare it to like a VW Bug if you're talking about width and length. Speaking of presence, it's a 1,200 plus pound machine that you're on as well. A lot of people compare these trikes to old school three-wheelers, but that's not the case. Now, you do have multiple tip points, but because of just the way that they're engineered, and I'm going to shift down here for a bit, we have a vehicle in front of us, but because of the way they are engineered, they are meant to stick to the road, whether that's caused by just the overall weight itself or just the design. Like here, we have some curves coming up. On a two-wheel motorcycle, you would use counter steering to kind of lean the bike into it, but on the trike here, I'm more I'm doing kind of the opposite, right? I'm steering it like I would steer an ATV, which makes it a lot easier for newer riders or older riders to kind of stay on the right track when they're riding. So that is that. These things are made to have just a different type of presence on the road, and they are certainly engineered with safety in mind. So we're on reason number 3 to buy a Harley Davidson Trike or Tri-Glide Ultra. Now, this one is just as obvious as the comfort. The storage capacity on this thing is ridiculous. So you have the trunk, and then you also have a tour pack, and I believe it's 6.8 cubic feet of storage space and up to 50 pounds if I'm not mistaken. So that's a lot of storage. So if you were needing to go on a longer ride, you have the capacity to do so. You would not have to worry about it like you would on a regular motorcycle. So that's a huge plus, and just having that extra space, extra carrying capacity, especially if you're a content creator and you have some gear to carry. As you can see here, he's pointing out a road hazard. As an experienced lead rider, I don't have to worry about having something pop up out of nowhere on me. More eye candy for all of the viewers here. Coming up on my favorite part of this whole ride. Nice big dip. Now that is a reason for concern. I would say that is kind of a road hazard, especially if you're not used to this road. But once again, on the trike, it makes it a lot easier to kind of handle different spots just like that. We're entering Botno County, for those of you that are familiar with the area. And as you can see, we just have more farmland and more trees and more animals to see. So we can move on here, I guess. Carry on. Reason number 4 to buy a Harley Davidson Tri-Glide Ultra or Harley Davidson Trike is the learning curve. Compared to motorcycles, two-wheel motorcycles, the learning curve on a trike isn't as steep as it would be on a two-wheel motorcycle. Because on a motorcycle, and you all know this, there are many other things to be concerned with while you're riding. You're talking about balance while you're working, clutching, braking, and counter steering, especially with low speed maneuvering. On a trike, I can get around with this thing, you know, whip U-turns if I need to, and, you know, without having to worry about tipping it over. And, you know, it's just one of those things. It really, I'm not saying it's easier to ride a trike, but I am saying that there's not as steep of a learning curve. Don't forget to stay tuned for that last view that I promised as well. So here we have Lake Metagoshi in beautiful Turtle Mountain area, northern North Dakota. As you can see here, we have lake on both sides. Views for days. It's beautiful. I mentioned the Cobra Tri-Glider slip-ons that I have, and unfortunately I don't have any external mics that are picking up that sound right now at this time, but the deep end is amazing. Just take my word for it. One of these days I'll hook up an external mic and let you hear it. Alright, so last but not least, reason number 5 to buy or own a Harley Davidson Trike or Tri-Glide Ultra. The styling and uniqueness of being on a trike. You know, it's just a different look, a different feel. And it's definitely, you know, with all of the other reasons kind of combined, it's just a really good choice for any rider. It doesn't matter if you're a new rider or seasoned, a vet. You could, you know, and a lot of people, whenever they think of tri-glides or trikes, they think of older riders who have maybe suffered from, you know, different injuries, or maybe they're just not strong enough to hold up the bike during stops, or, you know, slow maneuvering, whatever the case is. But either way, the trike is built for all riders of all ages, with the comfort, the customizing options, with the road presence, and just the added stability. You know, it's just a good choice overall. And here's that beautiful view that I promised. Once again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next video.